Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, or whatever the case may be. My name is Marcus, and I am the host of the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel, as well as the blackbraziltoday.com blog, where I analyze Brazil from the perspective of race. So today's story is kind of a hot one. I learned about it several days ago, or I think it was earlier this week. Popular singer Isa. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Isa, I don't know, she's maybe been out 5 or 6 years or so. I'm not sure when she came out, 13, 14, 15, somewhere in there. She started off singing cover songs on YouTube, and she got picked up. A lot of Brazilian singers and just singers in general these days are being discovered on YouTube. You know, Within a few years, Isa became like a household name. I mean, she blew up. Every big black singer that comes along or mixed race singer that comes along in Brazil, they always want to compare her. It's going to be like, this is Brazil's Beyonce. So, Time Magazine did a story on Isa back in 2021, and you see it says right here, Isa, also named as the Brazilian Beyonce. They've applied this name to numerous, Brazilian singers over the years. Everybody wants that coveted, Queen Bee position. Um, so Isa has blown up. She's a big star in Brazil. She's made hundreds of millions of reais. I forget how much she's worth. Um, People looked at Isa and says, "Wow, this is a great thing to see a clearly black, brown-skinned woman, succeed in Brazilian popular music." And from what I see, Isa is trying to go international. So people were applauding her because with black identity politics blowing up in Brazil, they've been looking for somebody like her, particularly being black and being a female and being brown skinned. Okay, it's a big deal in Brazil because Brazil has long promoted people who have more of a mixed look. They may be black, they may be mestizo, pardo, somewhere in the middle, but generally people think of more lighter skinned people. So when Isa came along in the middle of black identity politics, people were applauding her like, this is great to see. So if you've never heard of her, I'm quite sure there's some music of her that you should probably check out. Isa is a rising star. She is a big star. And, it made big headlines earlier this year when she announced that she was pregnant with her first child. Now, Isa's had a few issues, in terms of relationships. So this is a big story. And this is why I wanted to cover it because when it was announced that she was pregnant, there was another scandal that broke out, and I know I wanted to talk about the story, but it wasn't the time, so I kind of left it alone. I'm going to cover more of that in today's video and put all of that together. So the issue at hand, a white baby. So Isa just had her baby, I think, last Sunday. Okay, people are saying a white baby. We don't want it. Popular singer Isa gives birth to daughter Nala and receives instant criticism due to the baby's skin color. A lot to unpack right here. I want to go ahead and get into it because there's a lot of things I need to say. There's a lot of references and a lot of context I need to put with this. Before I do that, definitely like this video, share this video, consider subscribing to the channel and click on the notification bell so you know when I put up a new video. With that said, let's get into the topic for the day, put it in context, and then just break it down. So this is singer Isa with the father of her child, soccer player named Yuri Lima. So the couple, I think it was him who posted a picture. He just posted a picture of the baby's hand, shortly after the birth of the baby. And, I saw it. I had one of my friends down in Minas Gerais commented. He was like, man, did you see, Isa's baby? Like, now that's something you can use for your whitening conversation. Now, for those of you, what he's talking about is that in several videos I've talked about for at least a century and a half, Brazilian elites have pushed and promoted a social engineering that would whiten the population through mixed race interracial unions between whiter skinned people and darker skinned people, where they thought we could get rid of black and brown Brazilians within 100 years. It's called the teoria de embranquecimento, or the whitening theory. The idea is Brazil imported the most enslaved Africans of all the countries in the Americas. Like, estimates are up at like 5 million. So towards the end of the 19th century, when slavery was clearly coming to an end, it was abolished in 1888, Brazilian elites came up with this plan. Says, okay, we're going to open the gates, Brazil's borders, for European immigration. So they brought in 4 to 5 million European immigrants, right? And the idea was to not only increase the white numbers in Brazil, just by simply bringing in white bodies, but also to promote miscegenation or racial mixing, so that if Black and brown people would commit to having children with whiter people for 3 straight generations, that the hope was that the population would become white within 100 years. It obviously didn't happen, but this is what they call the theory of whitening. I've talked about this excessively on this blog and this YouTube channel. The famous Ham's Redemption painting, what's called Rejeição de Cã in Portuguese. Again, the dark-skinned Black grandmother lifts her head, her hands and her head to the heavens, saying, "Thank you for taking this Black stain out of our family." She had a relationship with a white man, producing a mixed or mulatto daughter. The mulatto daughter, in turn, had a relationship with a white man, producing a white or near white child, which is what has always been the Brazilian dream, to whiten the population. So I always have to put that in context, because that plays, a huge role in what I'm breaking down today. Just with the picture of this baby's hand being posted online, people went crazy. And what's intriguing is that for years, Black and brown Brazilians they know, and people have admitted, like, we've been taught from the time we were little that we should have children with white people so we can improve the race, so we can whiten the skin of our offspring and produce white children. People have openly admitted that. That's been the agenda for about 130 to 140, 150 years in Brazil, and it's still ongoing. To go even further, the whiteness of Brazilians, a lot of people don't think Brazilians are white enough, because a lot of white Brazilians have African and Native American ancestry as well. So I remember a few years ago, I did a study where it just shows I think it was a Wall Street Journal report talking about Brazilian women when they want artificial insemination, they look for white sperm, sperm from white men who have white skin, blue eyes, and blonde hair. So even though many white Brazilians feel like they're not white enough, and for a lot of reasons, because they go to other countries and they're not necessarily seen as white. So the whole country has this ideology of, we have to whiten, we have to whiten, we have to whiten. So, but in the last 10 to 15 years, with the rise of Black identity politics, Black and brown Brazilians are pushing back, saying, no, we want to reverse this trend. We want to have Black children now. So then when they see somebody like Isa, who represents the phenotype that they want to promote more, they're admitting, we've been brainwashed for years, for arguably many decades and more than a century, to whiten our offspring. So when they see somebody like Isa, they want to see this clearly brown-skinned Black woman have Black children. So then when the father of the child posted a picture of the baby's hand, you see the baby's hand is very white, almost a little bit pink. People went in, and it was just like, it's such a turnaround. It's an about face for years. There's studies out there that talk about when Brazilians have babies, the first thing they look at is the hair texture and the skin color, because they don't want that child to get too dark and have hair that's too curly. So this is an about face, because people are saying, no, we want to produce Black children now. They've created dating apps to bring together Black and brown Brazilian men and women. Now, I'm not saying this is still a slow growing phenomenon. Overall, the country still looks at things as, love has no color. So it still has a high rate of interracial marriage, but this is a growing movement where people are saying, look, we should try to have darker kids. Okay. So that's why this is such a big deal. The theory of embranquecimento, making Black and brown skin disappear gradually up to 100 years in 3 or 4 generations. The desire for a whiteness, it's been clearly proclaimed. I've talked to numerous Brazilians over the years who talk about how in their family they were told, hey, there's no point in getting with somebody Black. You're going to just produce another black person. That's no good. You have to whiten the family. Questioning, why are you bringing home dark-skinned people to the family? Are you trying to take us a couple centuries back? We're trying to get away from that skin color. Okay. Then we talk about palmitagem, the idea that a lot of Black Brazilians have a preference to have long-term relationships with people with white skin or something close to white. Palmitagem is what they call it. Brazil's rejection of African features. They don't want to see babies that have darker skin, thicker lips, hair that's too curly. They want to avoid the African phenotype. And as I've said, the rise of identity politics, Black identity politics in Brazil, is getting kind of hot. I remember there was a Facebook page some years ago that I had discovered, and every time a prominent Black Brazilian was seen in a relationship with a whiter person, they would just go in. They would just get totally roasted. So things are changing in Brazil. The racial identity politics are going in the opposite direction now. There's been a call for what's called amor preto, or black love. Black men and black women need to get together in Brazil. They need to produce crianças negras, or black children, and they need to reject the idea of palmitagem, like choose your own to have a relationship with, so we can have strong black families. They're calling for a reversal of the famous painting that I just told you about, the painting that I've featured over and over, the Regição de Cã. Now, I think it was a couple of years ago I came across this reversal. So this is the painting here that shows a slow process of whitening, but somebody recently did a remaking of that painting using all black people. Instead of the black grandmother looking to the heavens thanking God for removing the dark skin in the family, this black grandmother is looking, with a happy face at her black grandchild. Black man here instead of a white man, a clearly black woman instead of a mixed race or mulatto woman, and a clearly black child. So they're calling for the reversal of this ideology that says we must whiten our families. I found that to be intriguing that somebody created that, but it just gives you an idea of the politics that's going on in terms of race today in Brazil. As I said, people look to Isa as, look, this is the phenotype that we should desire. We've been influenced to prefer white and light skin for years. Isa represents a standard of black beauty that we all accept. So there was high hopes of what her child would look like. But, first thing is, this is Isa's second, let's say, everybody knows about her relationships. She was in a relationship with one guy. I think they had a big, lavish wedding. He was her producer, and I believe he was her manager. They ended up divorcing. Let me see if I can see that story up here. Okay, so I did a story about this. With fear of court and scandal, popular singer Isa pays her ex-husband $3 million in a divorce settlement. But then she ended up in a relationship with this soccer player, the guy she's currently with, Yuri Lima, this guy right here. They broke up. What happened? Several months ago, after she announced her pregnancy, she discovered that Yuri Lima, apparently he was tipping out on her. Let me see if I can find a few of those stories here. So I remember, looks like it was in July of this year. I just remember Isa posting a video on her Instagram and everybody was sharing it. At the time, I didn't really pay attention to what it was. I just knew she had a look on her face where she was really bothered. It looked like she was a little bit sad. And I'm just like, what's going on with Isa? Then I saw Isa announces the end of her relationship with Yuri Lima. She accused him of cheating on her. So the relationship ended. She was X amount of months pregnant, and she announced that the relationship was over because she felt like he had cheated on her. So it was a big story in social networks. Everybody was talking about, he crept on her. This is Isa with her first husband. So I don't think she actually married Yuri Lima. He's a soccer player. But, she got pregnant by him, and then they ended the relationship because she said that, he was cheating on her. So high profile. Isa is a really popular singer, so this made all of the social networks. Everybody was showing sharing the video of her announcing the end of this relationship, right? But what this guy looks like is something that I have to talk about. Okay, let me get into the story. That's just a little background I wanted to bring. I have some other videos and articles put this more into context, but let's get into this. Isa's daughter attacked on the web because of her skin tone. The fruit of her relationship with soccer player Yuri Lima, who was born last Sunday the 13th. Singer Isa's daughter, who was born 3 days ago, has been under attack on the web because of her skin tone. Isa's heir, the fruit of her relationship with soccer player Yuri Lima, was born last Sunday the 13th at the Perinatal da Glória Hospital in the South Zone of Rio de Janeiro. Okay, so the Isa's daughter Nala was born. There's a lot of YouTube videos and just articles online talking about this. After the former Mirassol player shared the first picture of the baby, actually just a photo of the baby's little hand, internet users criticized her skin color. Can you imagine being Isa and having a white daughter? My God, I'd kill myself, said one user of the X network, formerly known as Twitter. So this person says, God, Isa, this brown skin, goddess black woman, and she gives birth to a white child. She says, I would kill myself, right? So just looking at some of the comments that people had to make, I'm going to get more into that. So this post right here is questioning like, are y'all really canceling Isa because she had a light-skinned baby? What was supposed to be a moment of love became the focus of prejudice attacks on the little one's skin color. And more comments are coming out. Let's see here. So much stress that poor Isa went through during her pregnancy with Yuri Lima that the girl came out white just like him, wrote an internet user. Just saying, what was that? I want to see that comment. Somebody said, poor thing. Let me see. Okay. I thought that Nala would be born, she would be equal, the same, like a little Isa. And then I saw in the post that, let me see, she said that her baby was born white. So people are all commenting on what Isa's baby looks like, right? This is another article. This is from July 10th of earlier this year. Isa, pregnant, announces the end of the relationship with soccer player Yudi Lima. He betrayed me. He cheated on me. So again, okay, so this is what the person said in the above comment. I thought Nala was going to be a mini Isa, like I saw in the post about her with those little girls, and the baby is born white, said another comment. Again, this is the picture that I said, the reversal of the Ham's Redemption painting. People portrayed all of the people in the painting as being black. Like, this is what we should be aiming for. Look, the comments keep coming. Still another wrote, white, we don't want it. And the girl was born white, poor thing, concluded another. What an embarrassment that this baby was born white, said another. So these comments are all coming. This is what, what the comments are saying here. Third comment, okay, I just took the third comment from this post right here. And it says, Isa swirl, or she pomito. It means she chose a white partner, right, to have a relationship with. She got cuckolded by the white man, overdubbed the Lion King. Isa was one of the voices of the Brazilian overdubbed version of the Lion King, what they're saying there. She named her daughter Nala. And even though she's a black feminist symbol, she'll spend the rest of her life loving the white daughter of a basic white man. Ha, ha, ha. Wow. People are going in. We have to talk about this idea that Yuri Lima is white. That's I definitely have to talk about that. However, despite the negative repercussions, Nala's birth was also marked by strong declarations of love. Amid the criticism, Isa's fans came out in defense of the singer and asked her to preserve Nala's identity. I really hope Isa doesn't post any more photos of Nala. This internet is debating the skin color of a child who isn't even 10 hours old, for God's sake. Yuri isn't white. You forgot that there is more than black and white in this country, defended one internet user. So that's one of the points that I want to make. Let me keep this going, though. In addition, Yuri wrote, I just have to find you on my way, a lion cub, a ray of morning, dragging my gaze like a magnet. My heart is the sun, father of all colors. When it gilds your skin in plain sight, he wrote in the post that has already reached more than 100,000 likes. So that's what Yuri Lima wrote about the birth of his daughter. Isa underwent a cesarean section, and according to the singer's advisors, both mother and baby are doing well. She has not yet been discharged. This post right here says, this is disgusting. Isso é nojento. They're reacting to how people are clowning the baby because of the baby's skin color. The singer said goodbye to the stage in style with a concert at Rock in Rio. Isa performed in a recent Rock in Rio, and she almost ready to give birth. She is not due to return after Nala's birth until March of 2025. The artist says she's preparing something special for Carnival, and she's planning a new CD. However, despite the negative repercussions, Nala's birth was also marked by strong declarations of love, starting with the mother who quoted a verse from a song, Anunciação, by the musician Alceu Valença, on her X network profile. So a lot going on here. First thing I wanted to talk about, Brazilians have to make up their mind with this. How do you look at this guy right here and say this is a white man? Now, I wouldn't necessarily call him black. I would say this is a clear example of what we would call a pardo, a mixed person, a brown guy, okay? Just looking at him, I say this guy is not white, but they want to throw Isa's baby under the bus by proclaiming him white, and he's clearly not. This is a mixed brown-skinned guy, what they call in Brazil a pardo. What parts of this guy is white? He probably has European ancestry, but I wouldn't doubt if he had African and European ancestry as well. This is not a white guy, so I don't even know why they're making an issue out of this. The other thing I want to point out is that, and I've seen this before, I've said before, my children were born like this color as well, but all three of my kids are clearly black today. Children change colors, okay? I highly doubt that this child is going to stay this color. Probably that child is going to pick up some color as she gets older. That's just the way that I see it. But everything that's going on here, I want to talk about a video that an Instagram page that I follow released about this whole topic with Isa. Now her name is she calls her channel Pargitude. Pargitude means, instead of negatude meaning blackness, she argues for pargitude, saying you can't put all Pardus in the black category, as black activists in Brazil say all Pardus are black. I agree with that. Not all Pardus, brown, mixed people should be considered black, even though a large percentage of Pardus would be considered black. So I agree with a lot of what Pargitude says. Her name is Beatriz Bueno, but I disagree with some of the stuff that she also says. Let me talk a little bit about what I've posted on this topic. So for example, I think it's about a week ago, it looks like 8 days ago, I posted this video. A woman posted a picture of her newborn baby, and on the left, she says the baby is brown or Pardu, and then she changed her mind and says, okay, now my baby is black. It was just like everybody was commenting on it, because like your baby is black in both of those pictures, but people have been taught that when you have a black baby, you should still define him as brown so that he doesn't go through life with black on his birth certificate, right? In this video, why is she in our race? Woman's daughter-in-law is black, she thinks she's white, and she treats her black son badly. So skin color is a huge issue in Brazil. It can even, it can influence how a child is treated in a family based on how light or how dark the skin is and how curly the hair is. This other story here, the Brazilian fear of having black children, saying, I don't want to have kids that suffer racism and violence like I did. What people are saying, other people saying they just want to have children that is closer to the white phenotype. So this is the reason why I wanted to cover this video, is because this is everything that I talk about. This is just another example of how prominent the question of skin color and a black or white phenotype is in Brazil. The closer you are to white, people feel like you'll have an easier life. And in some ways, the statistics kind of bear that out. So what I want to do right now, I want to talk a little bit about the video that I had by, what is her name? Bueno, Beatriz Bueno. I featured a video in a post from last year. Now, I hadn't released the video or the actual blog post, so it says October 24th, but I actually did this video several months ago. This is Beatriz Bueno saying how, contrary to popular belief, Brazil does not love miscegenation. It is a necessary bridge to whiteness. This is what she's saying. This is, her channel's called Pargitude. And she's just arguing about the differences between how clearly black or mixed people, how they're treated differently. Mixed people, brown, Pardus, are either you're too white to be black or you're too black to be white. And what she's saying is that this moment when miscegenation is praised, in quotes, is not the mixed race body that is praised, but the possibility that this mixed race body has of becoming white. And if it doesn't, there's still a problem, right? For the racist structure, it's like a body that got halfway in the plan to lighten the population. I totally agree with that. I don't believe that Brazilians accept mixing as just let's all mix and all be mixed. It's like, no, it's a step away from blackness and a step closer to whiteness, which is exactly what she's saying. I agree with that. I don't agree with everything that Beatrice says. We differ on some points, but this point I definitely agree with. So what I want to do right now is I want to react to something that she said in a recent release, a recent video about what happened, about how people are reacting to Isa's baby. So let me just overdub what she had to say here. In multiracial families, we grow up being compared from the cradle onwards, right? So it really struck me until you spoke now about the interracial relationship that's happening within your family, that you're rooting for the person to be born darker. And this is something that we're always thrown back and forth. So of course, the structure of the country, the social structure, is going to put pressure on us to become whiter. But in contemporary times, the movements are going to pray that we're not born white, right? So we're always being thrown back and forth, and our characteristics are always, we're in the belly and they're there cheering us on. I hope our hair isn't so curly. I hope it isn't like this. And then you're born into a family under these looks. It's very violent. So you heard what Beatrice had to say there. I mean, she packed a lot in that little short clip. She just acknowledged everything that I always talk about. Like when kids are born, whether they're you got two black people, a black and brown person, a brown and white person, a black and white person, the family is cheering on that the child takes after the whiter partner in the relationship. I mean, she acknowledges this, and she understands now that people are pushing more like, look, let's try to darken our families now, right? this is the new politics that's coming up because Brazil has always been reinforcing that families should push to, get lighter instead of darker. This is what she's acknowledging here. And I totally agree with that. You got studies that go back to the 50s that talk about, parents wishing their kids are way, they want their children to look as white as possible. This came up a few years ago again. I'm sure you're all familiar with Meghan Markle. She's, part of the royal family. It was always a question of, okay, is Meghan Markle supposed to be black? But as fair as Meghan Markle is, the royal family, from what she was saying, is that they were afraid that the baby she had would come out a little bit too dark. So this is a common discussion that people have in Brazil, whether they have a relationship where the two people are black, or whether it's a black and a white person, a brown and a white person, is always a question of, well, what is the name of this article? Will the baby be born light? Like Meghan Markle, Black Brazilian mothers have heard this question, like this woman right here. Let me see if I can get to a couple of key points here. Like, okay, so this is Natalia Geraldo talking about this. It would be much better if she was born with curly hair than with her father's crespo or kinky hair. But he's not even black. He's moreninho. So this idea of moving people away, a child away from blackness and putting them in the moreno category, which is to say, okay, he's a little bit brown, but at least he's not black. Will it be darker or will it be lighter? This is a question that always goes on in Brazil when children are born, particularly Brazilians knowing they have this mixed ancestry. Here's another example. Daisy Rodriguez and her family, she talks about how her children's skin tone was put into questioning during her pregnancy. It's like, okay, you married a darker skinned guy, you could just hope that they come out a little bit lighter. Says, I'm black, what they call pardo. She considers herself to be a pardo, but she considers herself to be part of the black race. And the father of my 3 children is African with no mixing. He has dark skin, thick lips, a wide nose, and kinky hair. So they see a relationship like that. I'm thinking this is her husband right here. And they're just wishing that, the child come out taking a little bit more after her, right? Again, they don't want him to be black. They want him to be, well, can't he be just a little bit lighter than the father? Then you have this couple right here. I'm not really sure if the guy here, the father, is considered white. You just never know. I mean, what you consider white and what I consider white, what Americans consider white, what Brazilians consider white. Let me see here. Every one of these stories has something intriguing to talk about. My husband is from the interior of Sao Paulo state, from a white family, traditionally Italian. Before our son was born, there was a denial of racism. People commented things like, your son will not be black. He'll be moreninho. He'll be a little bit brown. Only that delegitimized his blackness and mine as well. Look at this family. Monique talks about interracial relationship and the arrival of her children. Let me see what else we have here. I didn't hear that kind of, I'm glad they were born lighter comment. I wasn't even a victim of a crooked look, perhaps because I am a negra retinta, a dark-skinned black woman. People who have a little lighter skin may hear this horrible comment more. Let me see. She talks about, mixed or, people who are not clearly black or clearly white being in this racial limbo. The question of the pardo, are they black, are they white, or just something altogether in the middle? Let me see here. Many people were surprised. Okay, this is another lady talking about how her baby was born. Many people were surprised that he was born very white, pink. Now he's already getting my color on the internet. I've already received a comment asking if I was scared that he was born white. Let me see. A girl commented on a text I wrote during my pregnancy saying that she was afraid of having a black child in Brazil and asked, but what now that he was born white? More recently, with him getting a little darker, I started receiving messages on Instagram saying, it's getting darker. The melanin is reaching him. People were relieved and anxious for him to get blacker. So what we have here is what's going on in the original article. In the people criticizing Isa's baby, people are more open to cheering to say, hey, we need to have some darker babies now, instead of this whitening process that, Brazil has always indoctrinated us to move towards a whiter phenotype, to whiten Brazil. So I'm curious what you all thought about this. I mean, it's a lot to be talking about a child that's not even, a week old, and all of these comments came out just because of the color of the baby's hand. To me, I think that the child is going to get darker. First of all, because Yuri is not white. He's fair skinned, but he's not white. And, Isa is clearly black, a brown skinned woman. So, I hope she didn't just register the child based on what the child looks like at first, because a lot of babies come out light skinned and get darker as the years go on. But anyway, how do you all see this? I mean, I thought it was a little bit harsh for people to be going in on a baby that was just born. I don't even think, in some ways, my point is another thing. If people want clearly black children, they should have children where it's two people, with brown skin. Isa had a relationship with her first husband, was kind of, some people called him a light-skinned black guy. A lot of people said he's white. And then with the guy that she's with now. So Isa's, her fortune with relationships doesn't seem to be going that well. But anytime you have relationships and you're going to have children and the person, you're darker and the person that you're with is lighter, there's always a chance that the baby's going to come out light or dark. That's just, you have to assume that when you had a relationship with the person that you're with. Anyway, curious, what do you all think about today's video? What do you think about the comments? What do you think about people wanting to reverse this whitening process? What does this tell us about Brazil? They had hopes in a brown skin Isa having a brown skin baby, and it may not have happened that way, even though in the future the child may turn out a little bit browner. Who knows? Anyway, let's get a conversation started. Drop a comment in the comment section, like this video, share this video. Consider subscribing to the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel. Click on that notification bell so that you know when I put up a new video. And with that said, I'm going to end this video here. Request that you all come back. Check out the next video that I post here at Black Brazil Today.